Well, hello YouTubers and welcome to another Let's Fix Something That's Broken and Then Make Something Else Worse with Rudgy. Those of you who follow the page, welcome back and thanks for watching, by the way. And those of you who are new to me, yeah, this is a vlog about me basically. I'm a bit crazy and do all sorts of bits and pieces that you'll get used to that. Anyway, yeah, the calorifier or however it's pronounced, calorifier, the hot water tank on Sovereign Bay has been leaking for a while. Now, I did a video a while back of me fixing that leak, and that worked. Well, I thought it had worked, but there was still a leak. Now, I couldn't find out where the leak was coming from. I was a bit bemused. I thought, well, it doesn't seem to be coming off the soldering I've done. Anyway, I had a tank that was on my old boat, which I don't know whether we can see it from here. No, we can't. It's over there in the distance anyway. The good ship Jorro. Now that tank had been fitted by a professional, and yet the problem we had with that was whenever I took the boat out, the water system, the hot water system, used to pressurise the water coolant in the engine on Jorro. Now the reason for that was, inside one of these tanks for boats or caravans, you have two copper pipes that are coiled, or one in the case of the one that came off Sovereign Bay. And what happens is the hot water, which would normally go through your radiator in your car and back to the engine, goes from the engine through the hot water tank, round these coils, and then back to the engine, radiator, or in the case of the boat, the heat exchanger. Now, what that does is the hot water in the coiled pipe inside the tank heats the water around it, which is in the tank, and that gives you your hot water for your system. Clear? Probably not explaining it very well. Anyway, what had happened was the idiot, and he is an idiot, or she's an idiot, it could have been a she, I don't know, who fitted the tank to Jorro. Thank you very much. It was a good few years ago now, so I can't come back. They must have tried to tighten the fittings up on the outside so much that they did this to it. Here is what's left of the pipe. Now you see the curve in that should be a coil, and what's happened is they've tried to tighten the fittings up. They've done that to it inside the tank, completely scrapping it off. Here's the rest of it. So of course what was happening, there was a little pinhole and it was leaking water. So what was happening, poor old Jorro's engine was having to put up with the pressure from the system of the water, the hot water system. So of course the pump would just keep pumping water until the leak stopped. Well, of course the cap on the radiator, or the heat exchanger on Jorro, lets out at 15 psi. I would imagine the water system's quite a bit more than that. So that's the carnage. Now what I did was, the fittings that go into the tank, I couldn't get anything big enough to block them off, so I'll show you what I've done in a second. Let's go to the boat. Before we go down to Sovereign Bay, you can see Jorro over there. It's the wooden gentleman's yacht with the mast on the roof. That's the boat we were talking about. That was my first seagoing vessel, really. I owned that boat 20 years and lived on it for pretty much 19 years, something like that. It's fallen into disrepair now. It was absolutely mint when we brought it back here 3 years ago. Unfortunately, the present owner, well, I don't know what's happened, but we haven't seen him. I've heard now that the yard have took him to court and they've claimed possession of the boat. So yeah, poor old Jorro. Right, so here we are. There's the hot water tank. I'm not going to try and pronounce the word again, but it's written on the side of the tank. There you go. Calorifier. So here we go. Now these are the fittings I was talking about. Those go to the engine. That's why they're not connected up just yet. You get hot water going in, and on the other side of the tank the water goes back out, having heated through the coil that I just showed you the water inside this tank. Don't worry about the drips. That was just me fitting it up. Did give me a bit of a heart attack. I thought I got a leak. Anyway, yeah, these fittings I couldn't get. So what I've done is, where it comes through the tank here and goes into the coil, I've flattened the coil down, tinned it first, flattened it, soldered the outside of it, tinned it, turned it over, flattened it, and soldered that. So that's, as you can see, is no longer leaking and no longer useful. It's not gonna, it won't matter. I've got one coil, I'll just run one engine to it. Now, the cold water tank is here. That's 150 gallons of water. It comes round there. I've shown you this on the last video. There's a filter just to protect the pump. That's a high pressure pump that is now pushing the water through into the bottom of the tank. The tank will then fill up. There's an immersion on the top so that when I'm alongside I can use mains electric to heat the water. Or tomorrow I'm going to get some fittings and fit up the engine side of it, so that when I run the engine, that will warm it up as well. It's a bit of a shame that they ruined that, because what I was going to do is put a solar panel on the roof and let the solar panel warm that coil up, and I would have had 2 ways, well 3 ways then, of heating the water, but never mind. These things happen, and that's that. So the other thing that I know that you're all going to be shouting about is this pipe work. Yeah, it's washing machine pipe. For want of a better word, I think that's what it is. I'm not over the moon with it myself. I might drain the tank off tomorrow. I've noticed this one's swollen up quite a lot. Whether it did that with the old tank, I don't know. So that will get replaced for EP20 or H2O plastic pipe with speed fittings. That's a much better idea, I think. But as you can see, it's quite a complicated business. I don't know whether you can see it, but in the back there, the thing I'm shining the torch on now, if I can point my finger at it, that there is a blow-off valve. So if the pressure in the tank gets too high, it'll blow off, and that pipe then just takes the steam or hot water away. At the moment it goes into the bilge, and the bilge pump deals with it. So yeah, there you go. That's a 50 litre tank as far as I know. The other one was 25 litres. So girls, form an orderly queue if you need a shower. Rudge's Good Ship Sovereign Bay is the place to be. So yeah, that's that. That's the tank. Now this is the old tank. As you can see by my hand, putting my hand on it, it's quite a bit smaller, 2/3 smaller probably, and it was leaking just there. As you can see, I soldered that, and yes, the soldering isn't the best. To make sure that I'd got enough solder on there to cope with the pressure, I built it up. I wouldn't normally do it that way, but I found out that it was leaking from here. The things people do. And the engine one was leaking from there. And not only that, but the straps I put on to support it were cutting through into the tank. So I'm not very impressed with that, whoever fitted that. Yeah. So my career in the marine industry is probably going to go quite well, because I'm a bit fussy about stuff like that. So anyway, from a very untidy Sovereign Bay, thanks for watching. Hit subscribe and hit like if you've liked the video, and I'll catch you all again soon. From Dartmouth, good night.